let's talk about the drawbacks. The big drawbacks that I can think of for electric vehicles are that they are still very expensive relative to their internal combustion engine car counterparts. Now that gap in terms of expense is going down because the production is getting better, the technology with batteries is getting better, and I think overall there are great incentives and interest rates and things like that that are making it a lot more affordable to buy electric vehicles relative to internal combustion engine cars. So that's great, but they still are more expensive, generally speaking. The other thing that you have to think about is depreciation. And this is a huge one. And I've talked a little bit about this in another video in the past, but depreciation is something that not everybody really thinks about and has a huge impact on the total cost of ownership of a vehicle. And depreciation is so much greater on electric vehicles than on regular internal combustion engine cars because, you know, their future is unknown. Who knows if driving an electric vehicle for 10 years will still be reliable, if the car will still work. And nobody wants to take that chance. So when you go looking on the used market for them, people are concerned. And so that's a big factor. You're worried that you spend $100,000 or $120,000 on your electric vehicle or $80,000, and then after a couple years, it's down 50, 60%, as opposed to maybe the 30% that a regular car would be down. That's a lot to swallow. So there's that. And there's also the reliability concerns. I think people genuinely are worried about what happens in the winter when I charge up my car. Will it work? Will it charge properly? How many charges before I start losing power or before I stop being able to fill it up all the way? And what are some of the other things that I need to worry about? If I get into an accident, am I going to write off my electric vehicle? What happens if one of the cells goes bad? Do I need to replace the entire battery pack? That could cost me $20,000, $30,000. There are a lot of reliability concerns and issues with electric vehicles that you need to consider. The other thing that a lot of people are afraid of is if I get into an accident, is it just going to burst into flames and will fire crews be able to put it out because it's not a regular fire, it's an electrical fire? That is a very real concern. So there are a lot of things that factor in on the positive side and the negative side with electric vehicles, and I think it's important to consider all of those things. Again, we still don't have the infrastructure set up in a very widespread way that allows us to charge wherever we are in the same way that we have regular gas stations, and it takes a lot longer to charge your electric vehicle. You can't just pull up to an electric charger and charge your car in 5 minutes. There's no splash and dash and away you go. You know, it takes a good few hours or 45 minutes if you want to do a very quick charge, and that's a real challenge. There's also the capacity of these electric charge stations. You go to charge stations and they're not always available. You plan your trip and you know exactly what you want to do, where you want to go, and you get to the charge stations and they're full. That's a very real challenge. So I think it's just important to understand, again, all of the pros and cons about the electric vehicle industry, and those are all things that are being worked on in a positive way and in a negative way to help make it more adoptable for the mass market. And until those hurdles get sort of overcome, it's going to take a bit more